My real name is Ellen Osborne Carr Clemmons, and I am 95, and in January I'll be 96. I was born in Wallace, North Carolina, so in Raleigh that's unusual for a North Carolinian to still be living here, but I have lived many places because my husband was a career military man, and so I've lived many states and in Japan. And I think one of my favorites, well, Japan was my favorite, of course, overseas place, but, and of course, I'll always love North Carolina, but of other states we lived, Arkansas was my favorite state. And that's me when I was a baby. I mean, when I was about 4 years old, I think. Oh, well, I was born to Christian parents. And so it was a little bit hard to know exactly because, I mean, I always knew who Jesus was. But when I was about 9 years old, we used to have revivals at our church. And we had this revival. And it was during the week and on a Thursday night. And I can't remember the date, but it was a Thursday night when I got home. And I told Mama and Daddy a different feeling, and they wanted to know how. But you know, it's a hard feeling to tell. But anyway, I knew that I knew Jesus that night personally, whereas before I had been hearing about it. But as life goes on, and things change in your life, I think you become closer and closer to God. You realize a little bit more and more what life is all about. I lived in a very small town, Wallace, and everybody knew everybody. When I was I couldn't do anything wrong because if I did, they had called Mama before I got home and she knew it. My daddy was an elder in the church, and my mama, she never taught Sunday school, I don't think now, but she taught at home. And every day, I can remember as a child, we'd sit around on the floor. My sister and I, we were well, as I said, Mama and Daddy had 3 children of their own, but the oldest one died. And so it was just my sister and I, and we would sit, and Mama would, and Daddy would pray, and we always, I mean, at a mealtime before we ate, Daddy had a prayer, and I used to think, oh, Daddy, why are you praying so long? I'm ready to eat. Because he had our daily prayer. and it's strange. I mean, in our small town, just about every student was most of them were Baptists. I was Presbyterian, and at that time we didn't have any Catholics, but Wallace does now, and I'm very thankful that they do. And we have a big Methodist church and a big Wallace church and a big Presbyterian church and big Baptist and the Catholic and we have several Jewish families go either to Wilmington or to somewhere else to the synagogue. Anyway, but and anyway, as I grew up, I finished high school and I went to college. I was going to college for 1 year and take a pre-nursing course, which I did. I went to Floyd McDonald Presbyterian College in Red Springs, North Carolina. It's not even there anymore. I met my husband, and he was so cute, and but he didn't have any money, so I sure didn't marry him for money. And, but in those days, you could get 2 Coca-Colas for a dime. I was hooked. and then then he called me on Sunday after that and asked me out, and we rode to the beach, to Carolina Beach. Is over 100 years old. This lamp was given to my daddy and his first wife when they got married about 1898 or 99. My second son, Luke and I had 2 boys, 13 months apart, and then 6 years later had a girl, Ellie. But Ob had been married, and sadly they divorced. And anyway, somebody was waiting in the house and had a gun and robbed them. And I mean, we don't know the details, but he killed them both. And we didn't know about it. Nobody found their bodies for, well, I think that was on I forget, Thursday or Friday, and then didn't find out about it until the following week. And they said they thought it was a suicide, that they had committed suicide, and because the person that killed him, we found out at the trial, he had cleaned up all the mess, and I said no. I said, he was full of life, and he was a Christian. I mean, and I know Christians sometimes do things that we shouldn't do. Yeah, Jesus told me, he said, Obbie, Ob did not kill himself. And so, and I told the sheriff, and he looked at me like, you crazy thing. But you know what? The day of the trial, when the sheriff apologized, it was because Jesus has said, to forgive him in my heart. And I think I have. I mean, I'm sad about it, but I think that I have. And I think about, like I told you, I think about his daughter so much. I mean, she was born, I'm going to say a year or two after he killed Ob. And I wonder what kind of a daddy was he to her. But anyway, like before, it was because somebody had told me, about Jesus. But as you grow older, and things just come into place, and it's like God says, this is the truth, this is the way it is. And that's what, even now, sometime in the night, most of the time I sleep very well, but sometime if I don't, it's like God is saying, don't worry. Things are that he was taking care of things. How anybody can not believe that Jesus is real? I mean, at night when I get in bed and I'm talking to Jesus, I used to kneel down, but my knees hurt now. so I get in bed and sit up. and I talk to him, and he's right there. I mean, I see him. I know who he is. And it's, I mean, he's just part of your life. And it's exciting. I feel like he's just part of my family. I mean, really, he's there. And I say, I'll pat the bed and I say, now Jesus, come and rest a little bit. I mean, because I tell him I know he's tired, because I'm not the only one he's listening to.